Welcome back, everybody, to another exciting episode of Aaron's Opinion, the podcast for blind people, where we speak about critical issues in the blindness community and all other issues from across the universe, galaxy. And today, let's go over to Italy and say buongiorno to our new friend Gabriele, who joins us from Bologna, one of the oldest cities in the world. And, I read your description. You are quite a character. You are interested in so many amazing stuff that I'm utterly fascinated in. By, the amateur radio, ham radio, chess, computer programming, history, language acquisition, software languages. I mean, you're going to be a blast. So I'm going to mute my microphone and ask the question I always like to ask. Who is Gabriele? You may take the conversation in any direction you like, walk through your life story, and just really paint the whole picture, because you are just a character. Go right ahead.
Okay, so thank you much, Aaron. Thank you for to having me here. And well, first of all, I have to apologize a little bit with all of your listeners because I'm not a native speaker, and so I maybe could sound a little bit strange in expressing my thoughts. But anyway, I I just hope to be a little bit clear. So it's an honor to me to be here, to be guest of your super podcast, and I really hope that what I'm going to say it would be some interest to listen for your listeners. So I'm Gabriele, my Italian name, that means Gabriel, short in Gabi or whatever you want. I'm 50 years old, totally blind. Uh, I was born in a very small village to the Adriatic Sea coast in the northeast of Italy. The name of the village was Porto Garibaldi. And, maybe Garibaldi is a famous historical characters because he, he fights in Italy, in South America, and he contributes to unify the Italy around 1861, maybe 150 years ago. Well, I was born totally blind, and my father worked as a seaman. He fished into the Adriatic Sea. My mom was very young, just 21 years old, and I've been around hospitals for the first 6 years of my life, and then my parents surrendered, and they leave me experience my childhood. And well, I grown up developing many interesting. For example, when I was 12 or 11 or 12, my daddy gave me my first computer, and it was an hotspot for me. It opens a new, exciting world, and I start on my own to learning how to programming in QBasic, um, building some small simple game for myself. And then I met the chessboard. Later, I became amateur radio, especially the CW. The CW is the short for continuous wave. It's the old Morse code, which required a lot of skill to be received by your ear. It's like to learn a foreign language, and 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 I joined. I try to join all my interesting, for example, programming tools to train myself in receiving Morse code or in analyze my chess game and whatever. So at the age of 25, 26, I moved away from my parents' house, and I've been here in Bologna, which I love it so much because Bologna has one of the most ancient and famous institute for the blind. And so this city has much more blind citizen, blind people, more than maybe than the other city in Italy. And for this, the people here are used to see us walking on the street, and they are very helpful to help us to cross the road, or to say the bus number, the bus line number, for example, or give a hand. And it was the best city, I think, in Italy where blind people could live. And then I find a job. I found my flat, my apartment, and then many years are passed, and I'm still happy here in Bologna. So, Haron, this is very a quick, can I say, scenario, a quick picture of my life. If you have some question that you want to go deep in, some subject, I'm available.
Absolutely. That was an absolutely perfect response and perfect answer, and just a beautiful way to kick it off today. Absolutely. Yes, of course, I've heard of, Portugal. Of course, I've heard of the historical figure Garibaldi. In fact, as you know, there's actually a square in Nice. There's a place in Nice, France, called Place Garibaldi. It's
Yeah.
very, very well known. Absolutely. What really inspires me, and what really drew me into interviewing you was how much of a great thinker you are. There's one thing that computer programming, building computer games at the age of 12, that would have been around, let's see, early 1980s, correct?
Yeah, a little bit early, maybe, because I born in 1974, so it was the early 1990s.
So that would have been, so if you were 12 in 12, you were 12 when you started to do the computer stuff. So that would have been around 1986, 1987, around that time.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, 88.
Oh, okay. 88. There you go. And you see, this is very, very critical. I'm much younger. I'm a young kid. I'm a young guy. I'm 34. I was born in 91.
Lucky you.
Well, I don't know. It's the year we were born. Who knows? Who knows who's luckier? The answer is the lucky guy is the guy that stays alive. That's the answer. That's the lucky guy.
Yeah.
But what all of these things that you've brought up to my mind, the parallel and the comparison between all of them is that they all involve you using your brilliant mind to be a brilliant and critical thinker, and this is the most important thing. You were put on this earth to think critically about life and to think critically about solving problems. So, I will tell you that I have not taken even one class in computer programming, but what I would like you to do is walk through the fundamentals of, for one thing, what type of person are you to have the desire and to have this enormous motivation to build a computer game just to entertain yourself? And how does that work? And what was really going on inside your brain and inside your head when you were doing that? And walk through the elements of how computer programming works and exactly what problems you can solve. The reason I'm asking is because I strive to connect with blind people who are problem solvers like you. So really get under my skin and really delve into the depths of all this. How does computer programming really work, and what do you know about it? And then we'll dig into the other stuff. Go right ahead.
Yeah, okay. So, mm, the quick answer, just using a few words, is the keyword curiosity, and not to be afraid of what the people say. You couldn't do that because you are blind. If you are curious, the curious is like an engine for your brain that push you a little bit over and over. And and there is a special excitement when you have a problem and there is no tool, no solution, and you think about it, and you invented something new, and you how can I say, you came out with something very new that to solve a problem is something that sounds like magical. You feel very, very proud of yourself. And this is the first step. Then it's like a drug. Then you want to to feel that emotion again and again. And so you push yourself on your own to not surrender when you face some problem, when the others say you can't do that because you can see there is no accessible tool. Okay, but if you are a little bit smart and patient and you ask without wanting from the other, but just asking gentle, asking the other people, and you have patience and you are not going to surrender at the first hard time difficulties, finally you came out with a solution. So you take what it is accessible, and you try, you test, you share with other guys your knowledge, and finally there's a magic inside things. But I remember that at that time there were just a few things accessible. We had a very simple screen reader or braille display with some programming language with our all text, no graphic at all. But with that tools, you can build a database, go inquire this database, extracting data, go calculation, or playing with sounds, for example, using the stereo pan, creating games using the pitch or the stereo of the sound, and that's it. For example, when I learn CW, Morse code. One of my first tool, it was called CW Scuola. Scuola is Italian for school, and it was a tool to teach to the other amateur radio students how to learn CW. It gives some word, and the student must enter this word with using the keyboard. If the word is guessed, the speed up a little bit. If the word is wrong, the speed down a little bit. And at the final of 50 words received, you have the score. And with the score, you have a chart. And with this chart, you could challenge your friend and have fun with it. So I convert a study task in a sort of game, and it works. It works because many people have tried, and now I have the same, but maybe much better because now technologies increase. I have much a powerful computer and so on, and now I have a software on GitHub. It is called CWAPU. CW is CW, and APU is from Italy Zulu for Alpha Papa Uniform, my call sign. And this CW APU does the same, trains you in speed up with your Morse code receiving. That's one of my favorite and most important tool. I continue programming all day since maybe 1 year and a half. And this for this, Aaron, the curiosity and never give up is the key the key answer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I could not possibly agree more. That is so good. And also too, what you alluded to a moment ago when you were talking about the computer software, the game that you built before you learned CW. And of course, I know what CW is, and so does my father. We're both amateur radio people too. We aren't doing the hobby at this particular moment in time, but we know of it, and we have a long history with amateur radio. So certainly I know CW. And I know of CW. I don't know, I know some of the letters. For those who are, not so familiar, it's a system. Basically, the way I would describe it in one sentence is Morse code is a system of dits and dashes that is used to communicate over the airwaves. And then it's heard as pulses, beeps, which are perceived as dits or dashes, as we say in English. Yeah, but no, the thing that really stands out to me that I think is a very subtle thing that blind people all over the world need to learn is that for you to be successful, you had to be curious, but you also had to be realistic and cautious. You had to gently, you really touched on it and it really touched me. You gently reached for the right information. And I think this is something that is so misunderstood and not understood by blind people all over the world is that everybody wants to get, all of the information. It seems to me that you took little bites of the right information and walked in the right direction. So when you built that game for your computer, what was the game that you were able to build and what did the game do when you built that game? Yeah.
Okay. Commenting the first part of your speech, yeah, I totally agree. When you grow up with a healthy problem, we may say disability, or yeah, you have some disability. Um, Usually, people divide it in two different ways. Many of them stay living on their couches, watching TV with their parents until they are very, very adult, and they think the world is too much hard to be faced. They won't go out on their own, or they consider impossible many, many things that usually people do in life. Okay. Um, Another category of people, otherwise, on the other hand, won't be helped by everyone because as I am so unlucky, you must help me, and you must do what I want you do for me. Okay, and these two ways to behave is failure both. Um, because obviously the best way to face your life is it to bring inside your disability, to consider it just part of yourself, like the color of your hair or the color of your eye or how much you're tall. Okay, just like a parameter of yourself. And if you do that, the other people, when they look at you, they saw first the person and then the disability. Otherwise, they will see first disability and maybe then the person you are. And if you go this second way, the life will be a hard challenge for you. Okay. Coming to the second part, well, I did many games, many games. Some are very stupid, very simple. Other are a little bit complicated. For example, when I was pretty young, I had I had a Pentium 90 computer with Windows 95, and there is just um, one of the first version of JAWS in that way. And I built a little bit poker machine game, but to take it unconventional and a little bit interesting, I did it in a way it says that the card that comes out, queen of spades and whatever, not by voice but in CW. So you have to be good on receiving CW and then play poker. um well then um another tool I did, there was a football manager, football soccer online, which is accessible. It's a game from Sweden. It is called hattrick.org, when you have to manage a soccer team and bring it from your village church to win the world championship, and manage everything. And it's a very, very complex game, but pretty accessible. Okay. And I developed a tool to support it, that you put all your players in a DB, and this DB, using statistics and other mathematics and other math, helps you to decide what player keep, what player to train, what player to sell, or how to train young players and whatever. Okay, if if I think I could recall to my mind many other things I did, but I don't know if they are so interesting for your listeners. Back to you, Haran.
Well, I mean, all of this is very, very interesting to me, and it's certainly going to be interesting to the listeners. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. This is all really, really, really incredible that you took the time to do this. And I mean, even me growing up in the United States, I have heard of this, there are not many other times where I've heard of stories like yours where somebody has this level of curiosity and applies it in such a great way, in such a graceful and like beautiful way that you applied your knowledge. That's really touching and really, really special. Yeah. And then certainly you got into the whole game of chess. Now, chess is a fascinating thing. It's been around for thousands of years. Chess is an interesting game because, as you know, there are 64 squares on the board. And although we would like to think, no, I never got good enough at chess to make it worth my while, but it's still an incredible hobby. Although we like to think that there are an unlimited number of probabilities and plays and choices that you can make on a chessboard, I would argue that actually there is a limitation because we only have 64 squares. So, what can you tell me about your interest in chess and how you mastered the game and the things you've accomplished in the chess world? Because that's really special.
Okay, thank you for the question. This is one of my favorite hobby. I study chess all days, and I participate to many tournament, both online and in present. In 3 days, on July 21st, I will leave for Galatina in Puglia region in the south of Italy, where we have our blind Italian chess championship that lasts for 1 week. And we stay there all together, playing one against each other and whatever. Okay, the chess entered in my life thanks to my uh, grandfather. When I was young, 7 or 8 years old, he came all day to my home and helped me to do school homework. And it says, if you finish your homework on time, then we play chess. And I will first he taught me the move, the rules, how the pieces move around this beautiful universe of 64 galaxies. And and then so I do my homework, and then we do our one game each day for years. Then when I grow up and became 12, 13, other interesting came to my mind. For example, I don't know, girls or friends going out and whatever. And my poor grandfather had to play alone, and I forget chess for some years until I discover a very old software called Cyrus that runs under DOS 6.22 at that time. And as it was a text engine, a text chess engine, it was accessible. And then it is, oh wow, my God, I can play chess against a computer. And then I start losing all my games. And I say, oh, but I believe to be pretty good in chess, but I discovered that I wasn't. Absolutely. Then I start studying. A friend of mine reads a book for me, and then by a packet radio, which is a way that amateur radio can use to send a text a message through the BBS or packet station. There were a network of chess lover, and I start playing in not in real time, but 1, 2, 3 moves per day or each 2, 3 days. And I had this very, very long game, maybe 3, 4 months long, until some website arrived like lichess.chess.com, game note and whatever, and we blind also could play on real time with all the other players all over the world. Uh, Chess, it's more than a game, it's a sport. Is the most beautiful game the humanity has discovered or invented. He passes along 3,000 years of history. He passes through religions, gender, nations, government, geography, distance. Okay, he changes a little bit, but the soul of this game, of this sport, remain the same, and it fascinated people from all ages on this planet. And there are, Haron, some games maybe play 200 years ago, 100 years ago that I study from past championship, which are so beautiful that I feel emotion like a sighted people could feel in front of a painting like the Gioconda or another famous painting. There are situations so complicated in a chess game where if a single piece falls down, all the positions fall down and all the other 13, 14, 15 pieces fall down, that they are kept up just by one single pawn. The mind who could concept this incredible paint, it was a simple genius to me. Okay, and when you think that mind belong to a body who is disappeared 200, 300 years ago, you couldn't feel astonished. It's very fascinating. And also, chess, it's wonderful because it doesn't matter if you have sighted or not, if you have the sight or not, if you have 2 arms or 4 arms, if you have 3 legs, if you have 2 heads, if you are a male, female, if you are not male or female, if you speak New Zealand, Japanese, it doesn't matter. In chess, you have only one set of rule. It is your brain, your naked brain on a table, together your opponent's naked brain, and these two brains fight one against each other, no matter what bodies they live in. It's just a matter of deepness of thought, of your ability to forecast the future, your psychology skill to know when it's time to attack, when it's time to defend. when it's time to give a glance to the clock and decide how to use the remaining time on your clock, because all the games are with the clock. And if you are just one move from a chessmate, but you finish the time, you lost the game. So the time is the invisible piece on the chessboard, but it's important as much as the other. And now I start serious with chess in 2005. But nowadays we have many accessible tools. We have books. We have the artificial intelligence that can read diagrams and position for us. We have lichess.org. It's very important. I say it again for your listeners. It's Lima India Charlie Hotel Echo Sierra dot Oscar Radio Golf, which has as the first, at the very top of the page, one button that says enable accessibility mode. If you push that, the website changes itself and it becomes almost, not totally, unfortunately, I have to say 85% accessible. And you could learn and play chess for free in your own language against people from all over the world. And I invite with all of my heart everybody to dive in this adventure, because it's vitamins for your brain. It's a really strong vitamin. As you go to the gym to keep your body health, chess is the same gym for brain, I guess. So back to you, Aaron.
You're so correct. I cannot possibly agree with you more. Chess is so beneficial. And you're very right. As a podcaster myself, I have to take care of my brain and body all the time. I exercise physically and emotionally every day by exercising, walking around my neighborhood, eating a healthy diet. I mean, you're so right. All of these little things together make all the difference in the world. You are so correct too. When you look back at some of these chess games throughout history, what it really shows is that people have not changed much at all over time. That if you were a brilliant person like you are today, there were other geniuses hundreds of years ago that also had the same level of curiosity that you do, and that's why it's so touching. Often in American society, you learn about, the forefathers of our country, and history is one of my favorite topics, by the way. So, oftentimes we read the Declaration of Independence or the Bill of Rights or different documents from our nation's past. And I think a similar thing. I think, wow, all of these people who wrote these papers are long since dead, but I'm glad they wrote the things they did because they're also brilliant people. And things like that. So it's a very similar thing. Yeah, you are so right. And surely you've read the book, The Immortal Game, which is a great book about the history of chess. That's a great one to read for listeners who want to learn more about that. And it's really, really competitive and really compelling. So what has been the biggest chess tournament you've ever participated in? And what chess tournament would be your dream tournament that you would want to win?
Well, I would say that I would like to be better than I am. Unfortunately, I begin with chess at the late age, because if you dream to make the chess your main activity in life, also for earning some money, just winning tournament or giving classes, you have to or you have to be a real genius to be full of talent, or you have to start when you are very young at the primary school. I made. It's not my case, so I do I do my best, and we in chess we are in an endless stare. You always have steps below you and step above you, and it doesn't matter to be to sit down on the top of the Olympus mountain. The goal that you have is to defeat yourself, defeat yourself day by day, or just step up months after months. So one of the best experience I have made in the past is when I participated to French championship in I guess it was in Lyon in France. It was great. Yeah, because I win some very hard game, but moreover for social things, because I knew very nice person, other French player. We are still friends, and we sometimes chat to each other. And chess is also, good for this reason, because you enter in a world and having this shared interest, make it easy to make new friendship, and then you can go to visit them, to participate to their tournament, or invite them in Italy to enlarge your network. And it's nice. Okay, so I don't have a specific dream in the sense I want to be the first one in Italy, because it's, as you said before, I had to be realistic, and it's a little bit out of my target. My best friend Bersan, which is the president of the ASCID, our Italian Association for the Blind, is the number two in Italy. We are very friend, and when I lost a game, I call him, and we analyze my game, and he explains me why I lost that game. And I do the same with the people who are weaker than me. For example, since November 2024, last year, I start a class with 26 newbies, 26 blind and partially sighted people in Italy who want to learn chess. And we had a WhatsApp group, and I did 25 lessons. And now we organize our internal small tournament with all of my students, and we are having lots of fun. We also the the god of love visited us, because I knew that two of my students became a couple. That's it. Back to you, Ivan.
That's so endearing. So basically, just to have this documented, your greatest accomplishment in the chess world is that you help people to get married.
Yeah, and it was probably the best win I took.
That's true. That's adorable. That's really sweet. And it really goes to show, though, intellectually, apart from being very silly and very humorous, actually, it really goes to show that chess truly is about the relationship of our brain and the way that our brain interprets choices. So absolutely, that's really good. Are you still in contact with this French chess player today? Because, the reason I would ask is somebody like that is also welcome on the podcast. So if you ever find people, Gabriele, in the future who in your life in the chess world, or wherever you know them, other blind people who would also like to be interviewed, you're welcome to, if you like, you're welcome to share this information and share my podcast with them and help me get connected with French people or people from all over the world. You do know that I speak French, by the way, and language acquisition and being a bilingual guy, that's one of my passions in life too. But that's really cool that you got to go to Lyon. I've never been to Lyon. I've been all over France, but I don't think I've been to Lyon. But that's really good. It's super, super cool, man. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of interesting tournaments for chess all over the world. And the longer you stay here in the Aaron's Opinion family, I don't know how many other people are into chess like that. But this is certainly appreciated. And that's truly incredible. Absolutely. Yeah. So when you look at though, let's think of another question that's important to think about when we talk about chess, there are 64 squares on the board. Now, I'm going to parallel this with things that are going on today. Right now, surely you know and understand that there are many conflicts going on in the world and there's many problems around the world. So, what do you think when you think of the world, if you are going to think of the world through the lens of a chess player, right? How does chess really help us to solve global problems? What are some things that we can learn about solving problems in the world just by playing chess? What do you think it teaches us?
Well, I think it's a wonderful dream, maybe unrealistic because the people who move the power along the nation and governments. Um, those people are really blind in the full sense of the word, and they are playing, yes, but not something clean as a play a chess game, but they are playing dirty because they are playing not only with their life but also with the life of unguilty people. It would be great to solve our to solve the world's problem in the Middle East, for example, or in Russia and Ukraine, uh, by organizing a chess tournament. It would be a fantastic dream, but I suppose they wouldn't agree with this. So what we can say is that chess is a war game at the end because there are many strategies and tactics, logistics, problem solving, psychologies. Uh, so you need to be also kind of aggressive in the time you are playing. You have to be a little bit rude on your opponent. I mean, but only in between the start and the game's hands. Not out of the chessboard. We are all friends. You shaking hand of your opponent, especially if you lose. Okay, and this is a very sport behavior. Unfortunately, in the nowadays situation, it's not like that, and you could easily understand that. Just turn on your television in every channel and see what is going on. I think, and I really want to be wrong, that are we are closest to the World War number three as we never had until now. After the Second War, it is maybe the worst situation I ever see in my life. Unfortunately.
Yeah, you're that's absolutely correct. I do understand what you mean. I don't know, man. I think, chess, I think though that although you're right, playing a tournament would not solve the problems in the Middle East or Ukraine or in any country. And there are many problems in every single country. Even in America, there are problems, believe it or not, which is something that is misunderstood by many of my students to whom I teach online, which is what I do when I'm not doing this. I'm basically a lecturer specializing in English as a second language. But anyway, I think though that the thing that chess can teach anybody, whether you're good at it like you are or not good at it like I am, is that chess can teach us though that there are consequences to every action, right? Like Like is said, every action has an equal and opposite reaction, and we can learn to calculate and predict future behavior, which is what I think chess really, really can impress upon a young person. Is that there are good things and bad things about the way we behave, and there are always that all of our behavior, whether it's physical, mental, psychological, regardless of how we are behaving, any action we take can both be predicted and calculated. And I think that's what is really the true takeaway. In addition, and including everything you've said, which is 100% correct. But I think it really teaches us that we need to be able to predict future behavior. Now that of course has its limitations. I mean, look at algorithms, right? Look at algorithms on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. I mean, surely there's not a perfect solution, but if we can start to predict things with accuracy, then we would be moving towards more of at least a reasonable solution to all of that stuff, But yeah, I think that's really, really fascinating stuff. And go for it, man. If you want to keep playing chess and inviting people to join your group and keep educating people about the importance, go do it. That's a great gift. Absolutely, that is. Yeah. The other thing you're very knowledgeable about, and we touched on it before, but I want to walk through it with you a little bit more in depth, is amateur radio. The history, of course, as you know, of Samuel B. Morse, the creator, arguably one of the most important people ever in history, of many important people, Samuel B. Morse, and the whole development of amateur radio. So from your perspective, what can you tell me? If somebody comes to you and says they have no idea what amateur radio is, walk us through the history of that, because this is a lot of fun too.
Yeah, thank you for this nice question. To close with chess, yeah, I totally agree with your thought. It's a beautiful thought you had. I could just add that when you start playing a chess game, you are in a perfect balanced situation. Okay, you are in zero. Your balance is absolutely in the middle, and and each big or small mistake you do shake this balance from one side or to the other side. And so this is a very nice tool to learn that every action have a consequence. And moreover, in chess, you have no the lucky factor. You have no lucky or unlucky. You have no random, It's all from you and all from your opponents. So, and this is a scientific game, scientific sport. No lucky at all. Okay, amateur radio, another interesting hobby. When I was 16, one day my father came at home with a very old radio. It was a CB, Citizen Band, and it uses it on his boat, because he fishes into the Adriatic, and every ship must have a radio inside. And he that day he changes with a new one and brought to me this old radio and put it on the table, and he said, let's try it. Maybe you have fun. I turned it on and I heard like, and I said, oh, it's broke. It's broke. Sorry, it is broken. It doesn't work. And my father said, it's not breaking. You need an antenna. And I said, antenna what? And then I asked him to go back to the harbor and bring also an antenna for me. And it was this long piece of metal wire that I put outside of my windows. I turn on, and with a knob, I start surfing the channel, and something magic, it opens to me because I heard a conversation in between two girls from a small village, 2-3 kilometers from my house. And then I pushed the button, and I said, hey, you hear me? And one girl said, yes, we hear you, but you have to ask to enter. And I said, "Oh, sorry, I don't know the rules here." And since then it began a very nice adventure. Then I discover all the citizen band, and then I discovered the SSB, another way to communicate with on other frequencies and with more power that goes. You can receive and go farther than just the nearby village. And I did my first contact. We say DX, stands for distance call, outside of Italy. Then I start receiving a QSL card from France, Germany, England, Spain, Portugal. And then I became part of a group and starting counting all the countries I confirmed with the QSO. Then I passed the Italian government exams to get the call sign IC4 APU, and the Morse code is came. So what is the sense of the amateur radio in a world when you can be in touch with everybody using internet? It's like the difference. It's like the difference that you have to go buying a nice fish at the shop, or to go fishing on the lake or in the sea. Okay, with internet, everything is easy. You have a contact, and we type and send and press enter, and you are in touch. Using the radio, you have to know how the radio propagation waves works, and build your own station, buying radio and install big antennas on top of your roof, and understanding that certain countries can be heard during the sunset, for example, just in autumn or springtime, or certain in winter, certain other just in certain frequencies. And then you go for a collection. More hard is the country to contact. For example, I don't know, Galapagos Island, or a DX expedition in South Pole, or Vatican City, you may say, or I don't know, a rock, 50 meters square rock in the middle of the South Pacific Ocean. And more good you are as an amateur radio. Then you can experiment also, because you have the voice, your voice speaking into the microphone to make contacts, but you could also do in telegraphy, Morse code, and it is much more challenging. Or you could experiment with other way of sending and receiving data using computer in SSTV, in RTTY, in FT8, FT4. There are many kind of protocols you can send on the air. And there are this propagation, which is our amateur radio God, the divinity, because one night with 100 watts, you could reach a place at 40, 50, 60 miles from your home. The day after, with the same condition, you could reach Tokyo in Japan and speak to another amateur radio as he was sitting close to you on your shack, and it's magical. And the propagation depends from the solar spot, season, time of the day, weather condition, your kind of antennas that you have. Exist horizontal or vertical antenna. your kind of radio, the frequency you are using. And you could be lucky, for example, you could talk with Samantha Cristoforetti on the ISS Starship. I mean, um, space station. Okay, and that's this hobby. Moreover, you have to keep a logbook where you keep all of your contact you made, time, frequency, name of your contacted amateur radio. You could exchange a QSL card, which is like the postcard, and show your friends the collection of the postcard from all corners all over the world that you get. And then with computer, you can have a great statistics. um, Sorry, you can have a great statistics and see where you have been able to reach with your patient, with your chasing activity, because sometimes the Galapagos, it's online maybe at 2:30 in the morning, and you have to get up from the bed and trying to have a QSO, to have a contact with the Galapagos Island. But you are not the only one, and all the worlds want to contact them. And maybe there is a poor man who can have time just to do 100 or 200 QSOs and then leave with the boat. And if you are one of these 200 luckies, you can get his QSL card, and you're great. That's the sense, but there is much, 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 much more. Okay, I don't want to annoy your listeners. So, microphone back to you, Adam.
Not a problem. You're absolutely right. It's a lot of fun for people, you know. Yeah, and the original source for all of this and why and how this hobby developed, at least in the United States, was, as you know, during the Cold War and shortly after World War II, people felt the need to be able to come together as a nation and defend the nation if there was ever a national emergency. So although amateur radio is a fun hobby for people like us around the world, it was actually not intended to be entertainment. It was intended, at least in the United States, to be a form of protecting our country and readying our citizens to respond to urgent matters in our society. So it actually started out as something that was a serious matter, but over time it's become more and more interesting for people as a hobby. You're very, very right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
of
then
course.
with
Yeah.
go
Oh, I'm
ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah,
Not a
you're
problem.
super. You're super right. Now, in time of peace, or not ecological disaster, it's just an hobby. But it has been developed as a tool
Hmm.
for protect the country. And for example, when a disaster came, maybe the mobile cell network could fall off, but not the radio waves that is always on and always permitted to people, allow people to communicate one to each other. And for example, Morse code was invented, by Morse and used by Guglielmo Marconi wireless for the first time in 1907, yes. And it saves lots of lives, preventing disaster with ships in boat. Then since 1994, it has been substituted by more efficient protocols using satellites, and it remains just for amateur radio followers, lovers. But yes, you are totally right. The first goal is to establish a net who is resilient to catastrophes.
Right, exactly. And it was intended at the time. It was developed in a time period where there were no other means of communicating. That's why it was more. I mean, it's super important to us now, obviously, but it was even more magical in the past because people were not able, especially if you come from an isolated country, which the United States, ironically, is one of the more isolating places. Sure, we have Canada to our north, Mexico to our south, and some islands to our southeast, and but America, relatively, Gabriele, is a relatively isolated place geographically. So for an American to send a message in the early 1900s and somebody in England to be able to pick up the other end and say, yeah, hello, good day, I hear you. That was like magical to them back then. That was truly like science fiction of today. So that one is actually equally important today, but more magical then than now, because we can, transmit all sorts of signals now and we think nothing of it. At least most people who certainly don't have the appreciation that you and I do would think nothing of it. But a long time ago, these things were a big deal. And ironically, not to create a parallel because there's not a parallel to amateur radio, but when you're a podcaster, you also get data from what countries download your show. So there is some similarity there actually, because I can see that when I send out my episodes, I can see what countries around the world are hearing what I'm saying. So there is some similarity actually, in that sense, because you can keep track of your countries and where we're being downloaded from. Interestingly, in case you were going to wonder, lately we've been receiving, here at Aaron's Opinion, we've been getting a lot of downloads from countries in the Balkans, as we say in English, places like Bosnia and but what's that other place? Bosnia, Kosovo, Montenegro, places like that.
Macedonia. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Which is interesting because yes, North Macedonia. Yes, I do have downloads from Northern Macedonia. That's what it's called in the chart. Yeah, there's a chart that shows you when you're a podcaster that shows you what the country is, how many downloads, and even what parts of the country. So, for instance, I could open the Italian list and see, okay, what cities are downloading Aaron's Opinion lately, right? And I'd be able to tell. And obviously, surely and surely you wouldn't be surprised that if you download enough episodes, I'd be able to see, oh, Bologna. And then it would show me like the number of downloads within a certain period of time. So that data.
Wow.
Oh,
Super
yeah,
interesting.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Super interesting. And yeah, right. It's a sort of evolution of the amateur radio. It's different kind to transmit your thought, but it's the same concept to establish a net and to a net and to spread your thought and create your network. And yeah, I'm very fascinating from the statistics, and I really would like to see and understand what the board of your podcast could tell you about how it is downloaded, where and what and from who. It's nice.
I mean, what it tells, surely it is not something I fixate on at all. And I mean, I don't really look at it much, just once in a while, just for fun, just like you do with your amateur
Yeah.
radio hobby. I don't worry about the country count, but it's good to know who is receiving your knowledge is what it's about. For me, I notice that, and I think there is a lot to be said for it, that I get downloads from countries that are developing. I get a lot of countries, I get a lot of listeners from developing countries. And what that shows me intellectually is that people in the developing world need knowledge, is what it shows. So they need to learn from us, is what it shows, improves. But it's painfully interesting. But certainly I don't look at it and concern myself with it at all. But it is good to know. And of course, when you listen to any podcast, whether it's Aaron's Opinion or any of the podcasts you would download, know that if you push download on any podcast, the creator of that podcast can tell exactly that, Bologna, they can see that there was a download from Bologna. If you download, of course, there's metrics, and certainly there's, a length of episode. You have to download a certain percentage of each episode, obviously, for a certain percentage of time to get into the computer, but it has to be like that. And then they'd be able to tell, Bologna downloaded 5 episodes, and then the host can then tell, well, I know that I got 5 downloads from that city, and that means that probably they listened to the last 5 episodes. So again, it goes back to predicting future behavior, right? Where do I think I'm going to get downloads from next week? Well, probably, I don't know, Northern Macedonia. Kosovo, places like that, places that I've never been, but I'm glad they download.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah. Have you had a lot of amateur radio contacts? Do you get do you have QSL cards from like Kosovo and Bosnia and those countries? And as we call it in English, by the way, we call that region the Balkans in English. Do you have a lot of contacts from the Balkans?
Yeah, I think they have at least from 5 to 15 QSL card from all of these country. I missed in that area. I missed just one little independent state in Greece, which is Mountain Athos. Mountain Athos is it's an independent state and with the prefix Sugar Victor 2 Alpha. I wasn't able to contact. But all the Kosovo, Macedonia, North Macedonia, and Croatia, Slovenia, whatever, I have it all. I think that I'm one, maybe 97% in Europe.
Yeah,
Uh, and the totally, so there are 340 different countries all over the world, and I work 241 of them, and I got QSL from 209 of them.
that's incredible, man.
Um,
Congratulations. See, that's an incredible, the listener at home probably doesn't understand, but that's a major accomplishment. That's something to be proud of forever. That's a huge deal. Huge deal. Oh
thank
man,
you.
that's so good. That's so good. Yeah, as we say in the amateur radio, mega 73. 73 to you for sure. Good luck in 73 for that.
Thank you.
That's
73 to you too.
that's a 73 for sure. That's incredible. That's a ridiculous accomplishment. And and over time, podcasts get downloaded, and we say to ourselves, we say that's an accomplishment too, but in a different way. To get a physical postcard. Now they're electronic now. Surely, you can build your electronic QSL card, just like I have an electronic business card for Aaron's Opinion now that has like all my plugs, all my contacts for how people can get in touch. And yeah, with electronic business, that's the thing with these hobbies now, man, is that over time, the internet and technology has infiltrated in both good ways and bad. Technology has infiltrated hobbies so much that the technology has kind of changed the hobby. It's kind of taken the charm out of a lot of things and added new charms in. But yeah, wow, holy moly!
Yeah, totally
When
agree. Yes,
sure,
and
and
we
when
have
you're mhm.
we have QSL card right now, both on paper and both digital QSL card. There are service online to exchange with no time lapses.
Mhm.
Immediately, okay, the QSL card. But many amateur radio still like to receive the papers one.
Yeah. Because because it's part of a physical connection. It's part of the charm of knowing that you helped someone to have a good day and that you connected with them and you made the connection. And that's what it's truly about.
Yeah.
So when you're not doing all of these things, I also understand that you spend a lot of time working for this. I believe you work for the city of Bologna, right? You work in a Do you work in a museum? What exactly do you do for work, by the way, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, no problem at all. Yes, I'm employee for a company called Genus Bolognae. Genus Bolognae. There are two Latin words. Genus means people, and Bologna means Bolognese, or from Bologna, people from Bologna, ancient people from Bologna, maybe. Genus Bologna is an SRL society that manage some historical building here in the city center. They have four building, and they manage paint exhibitions in this building. Some building have open space, open area, and they brought painting or sculpture or ancient musical instrument from Bologna, but also from other part of Italy, and sometime also from abroad. For example, back in 2016, they brought in Bologna La ragazza dall'orecchino di perla, which is a very, very famous painting from Netherlands. La ragazza dall'orecchino di perla means the girl from the with a pearl earring, what the jewel you put on your ear. I don't know the English name, maybe hearing, something like it's a small ring that you put on your ear.
Oh, ear.
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 Yeah,
Yes,
that you
yes.
put in. Oh, that would be an earring. Yes, earring is what we say.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'm sorry for
No
that.
worries.
Okay. And yes, I employee with them and I do info line and info mail. So the people call me asking about the to reserve for reservations to book school visit or to buy uh, exhibitions catalog or to have information about what painting are exposed or what the scheduled time to visit or if they lost some items or if they if there's availability for disabled people or whatever, and they send me email or they call my business number, and it's that's my job.
Sounds good. That sounds like a lot of fun. It sounds like you would get a lot of characters, people calling to arrange real tours, but then every once in a while you'll get your prank calls and your silly people that just that just are bored and right. They just want to call you just for something to do for something like that. But
Mhm.
that's really really cool stuff. I've traveled all over the world and I love doing like history stuff like that. So I absolutely love historical museums, and I'll go out of my way to learn about the history of a place, and it's all really, really, really cool stuff. Yeah, yeah. That's So have any Americans ever come to your museum where you work?
Oh yeah, yes. Maybe the most represented country as a visitors are here is Spain, French, and German. But obviously because they are closer than the American. But we also have a couple of American college here in Bologna, and so it's not rare to see American students around here, and I certainly see certainly saw American classes visit the building where I work.
Wonderful. So good. So good. Absolutely. Yeah. Really, really, really cool, man. And then the only other thing, as if we haven't covered the whole universe today, the only other thing, or one of the many other things one of the final things that I wanted to ask you before I will, as you probably know, turn the microphone in the other direction and let you ask some questions. So, you've also done some scuba diving. Now, scuba diving is something that I've never done, but I'm painfully interested by it. So, what can you tell me? And what's your perspective about scuba diving, and how did you get into that?
Yeah, there was a very out how can I say when a man is not a standard man, a very independent thinker, very strange people, but in a good sense. It was my master of scuba diving. It's his name is Piero Greco. He's from Calabria region in the South Italy, and in 2005 he was a very scuba diving master. He breaks records. He reaches 117 meters in deep, risking his life. He won many competition in scuba diving, doing photography, pictures in a very dangerous place. Okay, and one day he won almost everything he could get, and he was looking for another challenge. And he says, "Why do not bring blind or other disabled people under the water?" And all around him, he said, "You are crazy. You couldn't do. How can you communicate with people under the water? They couldn't see your face. They couldn't see your gestures. If you have to communicate some dangerous, you couldn't." But he said, "No, I will do that, and I will bring blind people and also Down syndrome people under the water." And so he built up a camp in the city of Paola in Calabria and started this class in 2005. I was one of his first students. We were 7 blind people and 6 Down syndrome people at that camp. And he invented a tactile protocol signal where the blind people touches the master hands, and there were 25 gestures to communicate things. For example, I could ask, "How many air do I have in my bottle still?" Or the master said, "Wait for me here," or "We have to go up, we have to go down," or "Calm down," or "Breathe, breathe slowly," or "I'm going to let you touch something dangerous," okay, and whatever. And we did a 20 days of theory and practice. Theory, all the physics involved in scuba diving, what it could happen if you lost the mask when you are at 8-10 meters down to the water, how to be brave to not go in panic, and how the maneuver to say to retake the mask and put on your face and push the water outside of the mask, and to take your the things where you have to blow the oxygens, the air. And then we have a big swimming pool, and we start testing the scuba diving in the swimming pool. And after 20 days, we blind passes we all passes the exam, and the other guys with Down syndrome, 5 on 6 passing the exams. And then we took a boat and we go into the sea, the Tyrrhenian Sea, and we do another 2 weeks of scuba dive immersions, which are something incredible, fantastic. You feel like an alien in an alien world. You are without any weight, you could move yourself in 3 dimension, upward, up, down, up. You can literally fly in this blue liquid element, and you have to feel 100% confident with your master, because you always go down with your personal master, your personal guide, one by one sighted and one blind, and you could be in touch with him or her by a wire or by hand, and you go down, touches the animals and plants, or sank both, for example, or all the bentonic details which are on the sea bottom. We, for example, been in a sank Roman ship down 23 meters down to the sea level, and I touch, amphora, vases, whole boxes, and whatever from the ancient Roman Empire, and it was an incredible emotion, incredible. Then down below there are kind of magical silent. and a fish came to you and are not scared but they are curious, and they touches you, and you could gently touch them and see an habitant of another world that let you touch himself itself, and it's nice. All the time I came up to the surface, I had the feeling to be hosted in an alien world, and to have, and I bring home something special. Haron, back to you.
My God. I was just like totally loving that when you were explaining that, because I was totally like putting my soul into that and feeling it right along with you when you were explaining. That is so cool, man. Wow. I adore hearing that. That's so beautiful that you had that chance. That would be, that's so special. That's something that even in America, blind people would really not have access to that experience. So, that's really, really cool, man. Wow. Yeah. If you come to the United States, we'll have to go scuba diving sometime, man, because that's just too cool. I would love to geek out with you about that. I really would. No, it's just kind of one of those hobbies where it's like, because I also want to go skydiving. But the thing that I like about scuba diving more is that you can see animals and like have more like interaction with the environment, and totally geek out about stuff like that.
Yeah,
So yes.
I don't exactly know what the situation in US, but I know there's something called HSA. You maybe could Google for it, and it could be or should be American Association for scuba diving for blind.
Really? Well, that's really good. I will certainly take a look at that. That's really
Yeah.
fascinating to know about that. That's excellent. Yeah. Um, whew, holy moly. I knew that this would be a utterly spectacular experience in my life. Absolute honor getting to speak to you today. And it was, in fact, our great Romanian friend, Mariana, who told me, yeah, you should contact this Italian guy named Gabriele. And she was right.
I would like to thanks Mariana. Thank you, Mariana, for giving me this opportunity. My only regret here is that I couldn't talk in my mother tongue language, because I am a pretty good speaker in my language, Aaron. But in English, I feel like a 5 years old
Not at
boy.
all. Not at all. I didn't get that impression at all. I didn't get that impression. Your English is that will never, Gabriele, that will never be an excuse. So your English is perfectly fine. You can't get off the hook just because of the English. You're doing fine with that. I could not have asked for better. And you're fine. But of course, Gabriele, I am 100% sure that throughout this conversation and up until this point, there's always been some questions that you've always wanted to ask Aaron Richmond or Aaron's opinion. So what are some questions that you really want to ask me? And as I always like to say, if you can ask me a question to really get under my skin, to really make me sweat, to see if I'm worth my salt as a podcaster, what do you, Gabriele, really want to know about me?
Oh, yeah. Uh, as you know, it's dangerous to ask me that, because
Of course, that's
my
exactly why I'm
curiosity,
asking.
yeah, my curiosity, you know, I would touch everything in my life.
Well,
It was
really try, because I know you're curious, so I know you're going to come up with a
okay.
great question. Really, really
Okay.
go, really dive in.
Yeah. Can you give me a picture of yourself? How do you look like? And also, are you married? Do you have children? Are you
Hmm.
living alone? What's your
Hmm.
favorite interesting beside the podcast?
Sure. So I'm 34 years old, as I said. I'm a European guy, like you. Brown hair, blue eyes. Basically exactly what you were picturing, probably. Am I married? Luckily not. I basically live alone in my kind of studio apartment that I have. It's attached to I live with my family, But I have also have a lot of privacy to do my hobbies and my teaching work and things that I do. And that's kind of the picture of me, of who I am.
Nice.
And
And you said you
when
work
I'm
for
not,
university.
so I work for, I can certainly tell you exactly what it is off air, but I work for a couple of companies that provide English as a second language instruction online. Basically, it's a software similar to Zoom where you get on with students and you teach them English when they need to learn English as a second language.
Oh, great.
And with that, yeah, I really love it because I'm able to have a lot of French students. I had a new French student yesterday, and it's really fun for me because I'm able to go back and forth from English to French, French to English, and use my language skills. So for me, like
Nice.
language acquisition and learning languages, that's my thing. Yeah. So that's me. When I'm not podcasting, what else do I like? Well, I like watching scary videos on YouTube. I like watching horror videos and horror movies sometimes if they're really well done. I love a good thriller. I love a good thrilling movie. I love great food. I also really have acquired and adapted a interest in baking. I love baking cake because I love the processes of baking cake and ingredients, and I love making things with peanut butter. I have a fixation with peanut butter and do you know the word Reese's, as we say in English, like Reese's peanut butter cup? It's a product I think from I don't know. It might be from Hershey, but I'm not. Don't quote me on it. Anyway, I love making peanut butter desserts and using peanuts and peanut butter in recipes. That's kind of my fixation. I love great beer. I have a very advanced palate. I love le tartare de boeuf, and of course things like that. I love French food and Italian food too. My favorite Italian meal, because you were just about to ask me, my favorite Italian meal is of course gnocco. I love gnocco. And I learned how to say it from other Italian people because I kept on saying, I love gnocchi. And they're like, what? What's gnocchi? What are you talking about? Gnocchi. And then I explain it. You know, the little pasta that are the little dumplings with cheese and potatoes inside, and they're so delicious with a pesto sauce and a nice cold beer.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, I don't. It's gnocco. And they made me sell it. They made me say it. Well, it's gnocco. So my favorite Italian meal is of course gnocco, with a good peone, and a good Italian beer or a nice limoncello. And of course,
Oh.
trust me, man. You know, you thought you were you thought you're an adventure. You've never met me. Trust me, I can make you sweat too. Trust me. Um, but
Great.
and then after a great meal, after a great Italian meal. In fact, Nice. Let me tell you something, man. No city does Italian and French food better than Nice because you can get great Italian and great French all at the same time. Nice is like my favorite food city. Nobody does it better than Nice. Not even Bologna. After a great meal, an Italian one certainly. I love my limoncello or of course grappa. I love grappa after a
Oh,
great meal.
wow.
Oh, I'm
Oh,
trust me, I'm totally plugged into the culinary world. Trust me. I love some great grappa. Yeah, absolutely. That's
okay,
that's
great.
me.
So
That's me. Yeah.
gnocchi, grappa, pizza? No pizza?
As long as the pizza's made by French people, because French people make better pizza than Italian people.
Oh, don't say that to an Italian.
Oh, I said it all the time when I was in Nice, and everyone went with it, and everyone agreed with me.
Okay, let's say that Nice is close to Italy.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay,
What are
nice,
some
Aaron.
some
Nice.
other some
Thank
other
you.
questions? I'm sure you have one more question that you want to ask. Another question.
Oh, well, no, not actually, but we may met another time in the future, maybe,
I am
to
100% sure that you'll be welcomed.
continue this, and also about the what you said before. I have this French friend of me that play chess together
Sure.
with me. It's called Olivier Devilleux, and
Oh, yeah,
he,
yeah, 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 yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Olivier. Okay,
Cool,
and
man. Cool. So when I used to play chess a long time ago,
yeah,
I don't think I ever was matched with, I don't think I was ever paired with Olivier Deville, but no, he's a very nice man and he's a very interesting guy. He
very,
was,
very. And he
yeah.
has maybe about 400 people in his online tournament. So I could introduce your podcast to him and ask. to spread the word along his mailing list, and you could reach with one shot many people.
Well, that you may certainly do that. And you can certainly reach out to him and say that Aaron Richmond from Aaron's Opinion has always wanted to interview Olivier Deville. Yes, I don't know if he'll remember my name or not because I never got good enough at chess to really compete with him at his level, which is very advanced like yours. But I know the name and he might, man, he might know who Aaron Richmond and Aaron's Opinion is, but I don't want to put words in the mouth without knowing, but he might know me or he might be like, who's that? So
Let's discover.
yeah, let's discover. Yeah, you're
Let's
welcome to
find
reach.
out. Yeah.
You're welcome if you like. You're always welcome to share the podcast with him and let him know that I would love to sit down with him and interview him over Zoom and have a great conversation about his life. And we can speak in both English and French. Yeah, I think he does speak English a little bit, and we can certainly ask questions in French too and things like that.
It does. Yes. In English too. Yeah.
Yeah. That's super cool that you know him. He's very well known in the chess scene and very well known in blind chess for French people. So he's a major, huge supporter. Absolutely.
Okay.
Cool. If someone wants to get in touch with a Gabriele, how can you be reached if someone would like to get in touch with you?
You can find me on Facebook. For those of you who could see, I have a little bird in top of my head in the picture. It's my name is Gabriele Battaglia, Gabriele, and Taglia, my Battaglia, Battaglia. And I have this small bird in top of my head because I'm also a crazy animal lover too. Or send me an email, iz4apu at libero.it, spelling India Zulu 4 Alpha Papa Uniform at Lima India Bravo Echo Romeo Oscar dot India Tango. You are very, very welcome to contact me if you want to go deep in chess, amateur radio, or Python programming tools, or whatever, or just to say ciao.
Right. Absolutely. Very good. Extremely good. Just one moment here. Okay. Very good. Absolutely. It has been an absolute honor to have you on the show, man. And I could not have asked for better. So certainly stay on the line here for just another moment if you can. And of course, Gabriele, you are forever welcome in the Aaron's Opinion family. That was absolutely fabulous. And of course, until next time, and I'm sure there will be a part 2 and multiple installments here where we'll have to unfold some of these concepts because this is just too fascinating. But until then, I wish you a wonderful, safe, healthy, and happy rest of your day over there in Bologna. And of course, until next time, help one person today, help 1 million people tomorrow.